it's Naz up here in the corner. Today, I want to walk you through what I call the high profit scaling ecosystem and how it's the answer to taking control of your calendar and attracting high paying, ready to buy clients without constantly being on social media or doing endless sales calls. So let's dive in. Now, first and foremost, your ecosystem should be doing three things at minimum. Number one is making it easier and faster for someone to be able to make a decision when they enter your world. Meaning, we're not just letting them poke around and hoping that they fall in love with you. We want them to be guided there so that they can get there as quickly as possible. Number two is segmenting your audience by their level of intent so that you can actually present them with the right information based on their intent and buying state. People buy differently based on their level of intent, and we can't market to them all the same way and expect them to buy. This is what ends up repelling premium clients and typically attracting more tire kickers. And I'll get a bit more into this in just a minute. Now, the third thing it needs to be able to do is reduce friction while actually establishing authority quickly. The reality is, friction will kill or slow a sale down. But the typical way to combat this is to give more information. But this is counterintuitive to what we actually want to do because giving them more information is only adding more friction rather than reducing it. Because people don't actually need more information to make a decision. They just need to be presented with the right information in the right way. When done correctly, brand new leads become raving fans that pay you in full for your highest price program in a matter of hours or days and leaves you feeling like that felt almost too easy. Now, the high profit scaling ecosystem focuses on reducing your dependency on constantly needing more leads. This is a huge issue we see in the industry is that we've been taught that in order to scale, we need a increasing number of leads. But we want to reduce that dependency on more leads and increase conversions using a closed loop approach. And I'll share with you what this means. As a result of doing this, we no longer need to create multiple pieces of content a day or spend countless hours in DMs or spend hours on sales calls, or worse yet, spending the next 90 plus days trying to get people to buy. Instead, we close the loop on expediting those decisions by anticipating different buyers and their unique and individualized buying style. Now, there's two roadblocks that most businesses face that leave them chasing leads and attracting unready or unqualified leads. These roadblocks are what your ecosystem will either amplify or eliminate. Meaning, if you do it correctly, you'll see things happening faster and with more ease. But if you do it wrong, you'll amplify the broken problem, only causing more frustration and more work for you or your team. Now, the two things are one, having messaging that targets and speaks to the wrong buyer, AKA low intent buyers. Two is having a marketing system that's optimized for those low intent buyers. What you need is to make sure that your ecosystem takes those two things into account so that we can move people to making faster and easier decisions and ultimately setting your leads up to sell themselves. So, to break this down, what I'm going to be sharing with you and what you'll see here on my screen is how this actually works inside of our high profit scaling ecosystem. So, number one, and based on that roadblock we shared, this system is built to draw in and target your high intent and mid intent leads. These are people who have a purchasing intention. So, even from the very top of the process, we are focusing on bringing more of the right people into your pipeline and creating a more intentional and directional lead strategy. This answers that need for messaging that's speaking to the right buyers. So you're bringing in more ready to buy leads instead of more of the low intent, non ready to buy leads. Number two is once we've done this and we've brought them in through this first segment, now it's about actually taking them through what we call our bingeable sales system. Now, the key to this and the function of this system is to move your highest intent leads to be able to make quick and easy decisions through our series of bingeable videos or audios. But also, it allows us to segment the audience even further into those who are ready to buy and not ready to buy groups. This answers the need for having the right system that's optimized for your highest intent buyers. What this does is it's actually segmenting out your buyers and moving them through the system so that you're optimizing for people who are ready to buy versus using things like webinars, 5-day challenges, low ticket ascension models. All of those are actually built and tailored to your lowest intent lead. So notice how I mentioned that we have to do those two things. We need a message that speaks to the right buyer, and we need a system that is optimized for the right level of intent. That is the magic sauce that makes it work. So this is how we've done this. Now, once we get through the back end of it, most people will stop here. They'll say, okay, great. I've optimized all of this for my highest intent leads. I should be done. Now, what we focus on is recognizing that creating the highest level of profit means a reduction in the need for more leads. So, while this in of itself is revolutionary and will change your entire business model, what we've done is created a process that catches where people haven't made a purchase. So, notice that I mentioned that people in different buying states make buying decisions differently. So, if I had created this without this back end next pieces, I would no longer be supporting people with a different buying style. I'd only be optimizing for people who want to buy now. But what we recognize is that when people aren't ready to buy, we need to be able to supply them with the right information that speaks to their needs. So, how do we identify what's the right information so that we can actually help them make purchasing decisions without just giving them a ton more information? Well, it comes down to understanding why people buy. Noticing and acknowledging individualized buying triggers allows us to identify the different buying approaches and optimizing our back end system for that. The best way that I explain this is that everyone makes purchasing decisions for different reasons. The example I use is that if I were to go buy Nike shoes tomorrow, I might buy Nike shoes because I believe they're going to make me run faster. Whereas my 13-year-old daughter would buy Nike shoes because she believes it's a status symbol and it's going to make her look cool in front of her friends. Having that information informs us in how we can now market to those individualized buying styles and get them to buy faster. This is where our back end system comes into play. Once we've identified the different buying triggers, now we use a micro sales system that leverages your content to identify and speak to their individualized buying triggers, moving them to a weekly client acquisition process. Now, what this is doing is it's picking up those leads who didn't purchase initially and tailoring your back end system to help them make decisions. The results are less marketing, less time spent on sales calls, and less of you trying to convince your audience and you being able to take control of your calendar because you're actually leveraging your systems to do the heavy lifting for you. This is the power behind what we call our high profit scaling ecosystem. And it's what's allowed my clients to be able to do incredible things like completely step away from their business for an entire month and travel across the country in an RV while still being able to make $100,000 months and have incredible clients getting amazing results. Or like my client, Michelle, who as a relationship coach was able to have a $70,000 month, all without any launch process by just learning how to use this simple system to remarket to people who were already in her world using those individualized buying triggers. Or my client Jen, who was able to have a $300,000 month while shutting off her ads and not needing to launch at all ever again because she leveraged this new ecosystem. So if you want to learn how I can help you apply this ecosystem within your business, I want to invite you to the next step to book a growth optimization call with me. On this call, we'll look at what your current process looks like, whether you have an ecosystem or not, and how we can actually help you apply our methodology inside of your business. So click the link down below to book your call today and become one of our next success stories so you can step away from your business and have leads that are able to sell themselves.